Hi, I wanted to talk to you about what localization automation can do for you. On an operational level, it enables your business to localize products faster, cheaper and better, or at a minimum, on budget, on time and on quality. On a personal level, it does much more than that because it enables you to do what you and your team do best, which is finding solutions to make your business more successful and taking care of expectations that are in the way of that success. And we know from Franklin Covey that we can categorize our tasks into 4 quadrants, with quadrant number 1 being the urgent and important tasks, which are typically all deadline-driven projects. In quadrant number 2, you will have the non-urgent and important tasks, which is the planning, the strategizing, your training, your relationship building, etc. In quadrant number 3, we have the urgent and not important tasks, which are very often other people's problems. They call you and want your help on something that is really not important for you, but urgent to them. And then we have the not urgent and not important tasks, which are the time wasters, the surfing the internet, the water cooler conversation, and so on. So if you are in localization project management, then chances are that you spend most of your time in quadrant number 1, which are the beating of deadlines, the fighting of fires, and the fixing of quality issues. And the remainder of your time you probably spend, and that's a guess, but most people that we work with give us that answer. The remainder of your time you spend in quadrant number 4 on time wasters, on checking your Facebook page, the water cooler, etc. And you need that time. When you spend that much time under that much stress and beat deadlines all the time in quadrant number 1, you need that time and space to decompress and relax. So that's where most people spend their work lives. It is also true that when we talk to localization project managers and ask them what quadrant would you like to be in most of the time, they, with almost no exception, say in quadrant number 2. And quadrant number 2 are the not urgent and important tasks, like planning ahead, building relationships with your vendors, your boss, your peers, your clients, your staff members. It's your own training, improving your skills, the strategizing, and the exploring of new opportunities for either your business, your department, your product, your company's product, or for yourself. So the only way to get time for quadrant activities in quadrant number 2 is by reducing the tasks that are urgent and important, reducing the stress in quadrant number 1. And fortunately, that's exactly what localization automation does. It eliminates a lot of manual labor and repetitive tasks, and it stops you from managing by email. And that's a reduction of stress right there. On an operational level, localization automation helps you to decrease your time to market or speed up your localization process, whatever you would like to call it. And here's a slide from a vendor that have done a very good job in illustrating how much time you spend, or rather on this slide, how much time is left for localization of documents when you cut out those repetitive tasks and automate as much as you can. And it's about 1/3 of your time, which means you've gained valuable hours to spend on quadrant number 2, which are the strategizing, planning, training, relationship building. And if you reduce your time, you also reduce your fully loaded costs. Because every minute, an hour that you or your vendors or your colleagues spend on a document, it costs your organization money. And that's even more so if you, let's say, you're a localization project manager and you work with 3 different vendors, one for each region. One, let's say you have a vendor in Asia, another vendor in Europe, and a vendor in South America. To send that one file to translation, you need to send at least 3 emails, and you need to find the file, attach it, write instructions, and so on. On the receiving end, there is a live human being who takes your email, opens it up, downloads the file, uploads the file on their own server, and then processes it internally, either by analyzing it in their translation memory system or by sending it to a translator. And every vendor, they have their own technology, they have their own workflows, they have their own tools, and technologies sometimes don't work, so they have their own little workarounds. And during that translation process, they also work with you and your, for example, internal reviewers on a regular basis. And all that communication costs time and money, and so your word rate will blow up by sometimes a remarkable amount of money, because they add on all the time that they charge you for the services that they're provided. When we talk about quality, there we are a little bit more in the gray area. So there's a debate, how much localization automation can help you with automating the quality of your documents. And my opinion is it can do both. It can help you and it can work against you, and it can not help you at all, depending on the type of errors that you find. And you most likely want to have a hybrid. I give you an example. I wrote the promotional piece of one of my training courses the other day, and I had a typo in it. The original sentence was, "This is a course on list building," like building your marketing list. But on the American keyboard, the letter U is right next to the letter I, and what I did type is, "This course is on lust building," L-U-S-T, lust building. And so they're different. And my spell checker didn't find it. And why wouldn't it? Because lust is a correctly spelled word. You can only detect that error when you proofread it. Or you happen to have that segment or that sentence in your translation memory, and then it would come up as a fuzzy match and you would find it. But if it would be a totally new sentence, then there's only proofreading that can help you there. So there's no way that automation will help. But there are other ways where it can take away a lot of your quality control activities, like ensuring the completeness of a project or document. Are all the files there? Are the files named correctly? Are all the paragraphs there that I expect? It can also help you with your project communication in terms of, did I attach the right source file, and did I receive back the right target file? You can look at the workflow status and see almost immediately where your projects are and if you're still on track. And what's very cool is you can also manage your query centrally. So let's say you have a document out for translation, and 2 days into the project your German translator comes back and says, "I don't understand the term," or "I don't really know what the author wants to say with that particular paragraph." So you can go back to the author and clarify that, and sometimes you actually change the source, sometimes you don't, but in any regard you can feed that information back to the translator. At the same time, in localization automation, you share that same feedback with all other translators on the project. and that's your proactive quality control. Because translators in other languages, they may not have gotten to that point yet, they may have overlooked it, they may have forgotten to send their query, or they just made an assumption that was incorrect. So localization automation has tools or provides you tools that can support you there. So in conclusion, localization automation enables your business to localize your products faster, cheaper, and better. It also enables you to eliminate manual labor and repetitive tasks, and thus hopefully enrich your life and maybe give you the ability to leave your office a little bit early.